So I just filmed a little bit and I realized I left some stuff out. So I'm going to try to cut this either into my video or tag it at the end of the video I just made. So let's talk about representational versus direct government when it comes to bad faith. See, the way that you interpret bad faith, or the way that I do, can depend on how you view government. Whether you view the job of the government to represent the people and lead them, or to simply be a proxy for the people and therefore follow them. And then that breaks down into whether or not you think that we should live with a direct democracy or a representational democracy. See, the truth is, we're not a democracy, we're a republic. And that means that representatives vote for us. We don't actually vote for ourselves. I'm talking about the United States now. So, in a representational government, you are not directly voting for yourself. I wish we lived in a direct democracy. That would be awesome. But currently we don't. And I happen to like the Constitution a lot. So, when it comes to representatives, that's why they're called representatives, by the way, they have to decide whether their personal philosophy is to lead or follow the people. If their will is to follow the people's will, that's more likely going to be a Democrat. If they believe they need to lead and guide the people's will, that's more likely going to be a Republican. Yet, when they're speaking out in public, they sound the opposite, even though they vote the other way, which has always been confusing for most people, at least here in the United States. Now, the next question is, well, all right, so you weren't talking about faith, so what do you believe? And what don't you believe? So, what don't I believe? I don't believe in conspiracies. I just don't. It's a general rule. I don't believe the Illuminati's a thing. I don't believe in the Freemasons. I don't believe in none of that stuff. I do believe those were organizations. I do believe that there was a group in Italy called the Illuminati who were like disbanded, I think, the year that they tried to have an insurrection or something. Like, there's a historical group. There's a group in in comic books. There's a group, I think, even in wrestling that uses that name. But do I believe there's an Illuminati controlling the world? No, I really don't. I don't believe in fate. I don't believe in destiny. I don't believe in magic. And I do my best to dissuade myself from superstition. Down here we have this thing called brujandejas, and they take a little egg and they put it under your bed and it'll get rid of you being sick. Or there's a thing in Hispanic culture called the evil eye, where you have to touch somebody if you stare at them for too long. I don't believe in any of that crap. I'm not scared of a black cat. I don't think breaking a mirror is going to somehow... I don't think breaking a mirror is somehow going to give me bad luck. I don't believe in that stuff. I try not to believe in luck in that sense of the word, in the supernatural sense of the word. I like to believe luck is when opportunity meets preparation. That's the kind of luck I like to believe in. So what do I believe? Well, I wrote this down, by the way, wondering what I'm looking at. Well, I do believe in God. I do believe in science. I do believe in evolution. Which brings me to my next point. I do believe in paradoxes, and paradoxes don't bother me. That's my cat's tail. If it gets in the shot. Yeah, she has opinions too. And paradoxes just don't bother me. In fact, one of my first academic arguments I ever had, which, by the way, I wasn't a very smart kid, so don't think this is me bragging, was about paradoxes. I simply brought that idea up in class, and another student got extremely upset at the whole concept because he wanted to change something. And when I explained the paradox, that I would create a paradox, he freaked out. But paradoxes don't bother me. So having two thoughts that contradict each other doesn't bother me. In fact, having a million thoughts, reading books of a million different opinions don't bother me. Doesn't bother me. That's why I like reading many different news sources. Anyway, the next thing, sorry, I'm getting distracted by my cat, is that when I say that it's all right that Trump only takes certain news sources and only believes certain news and believes quote-unquote fake news. When I say that's all right, I mean that's all right for a private citizen. Donald Trump, the man, can totally believe in that crap. It's fine. You can believe in it. It's fine. It's not a judgment on you. But as the office, as president, he can't. He can't afford to. We can't afford to. The office is so important that he has to take on a different role. And in that role, he has to be discerning. He has to have many of the virtues that I'm teaching in my martial arts philosophy on this channel. He needs to have those ideas in his head because he can't be pushed with the wind. He can't be driven by other people's opinions. He's the leader. He's the one in charge. And that's a scary thought when someone can take bad information, false information, and act on it. Let's say you believe all those stories, but then that makes all the true stories that oppose those stories true. And let's say someone's following all those stories that you claim are not true. That would scare you. Now think about us who don't believe the so-called fake news. When we see someone following those stories and acting on fake stories, false narratives, it scares the crap out of us. So, I get it. I get it, man. I get both sides. Oppression's real, sure. But the guy with power who isn't oppressing you doesn't want to give up his power so you can feel better. That's real. That's both sides. True, 100%. But aliens aren't coming down and giving us messages. Statues aren't talking to you. Ghosts aren't giving you messages. Your dreams don't have meaning. Sorry, they don't. I wish they did. I wish every dream I had was a vision of a possible future or a different reality, but it's not. And no amount of magic or wishing is going to change that. No, most notably, the more cogs there are in a conspiracy, the less likely it is to be true. So, anyway, that's a little addendum. That's what I meant by bad faith. And that's why I say that Trump is acting in bad faith. Because acting on false premises is acting on bad faith. But he is fulfilling his promises too. So to all you people who don't like him because he's doing what he's saying, that's just your political agenda. And it's a good political agenda. I support most of your ideals. But they're ideals. They're not the reality. And that's hard. I've lost everything more than once in my life. Life sucks. I know, it's hard. I'm rebuilding my life right now. But that doesn't give me the right to impose my will on someone else. Or to say that my opinion is the only opinion. It's just not how it works. Anyway, this is a little bit more somber than the first video. Peace, love, rock and roll.